Pundits Pundit, another Thursday, and I'm here with Jenn, the professional fan, aka Uptown Jenny to my left, and you viewers left, and to my right is Jacob Christner. We have a jam-packed show. We've got some awesome topics, but first and foremost, we did want to start off with a little tribute. So, Jenn, if you would take it away.
Yes, Bill, as everybody knows, Bill Russell of NBA, specifically Boston Celtics fame, passed away on Sunday, and he just had such a great legacy in life. He was the 5-time NBA most valuable player, 12-time NBA All-Star. He led the Celtics that won 11 NBA championships during his 13-year career. Russell and Henry Richard of the National Hockey League are actually tied for the most championships won by an athlete in a North American sports league. And Russell is actually considered to be the true GOAT, which no one can disagree with that, really. He actually had led the San Francisco Dons, aka University of San Francisco, for those who don't know, to 2 consecutive NCAA championships in 55 and 56. And I believe he was the youngest captain of a gold medal winning U.S. Olympic team in the 1956 Summer Olympics. He was married to, where was his wife at? Sorry, I saw his wife a minute ago. But yeah, 11 times NBA championship, 5-time NBA most valuable player, 12-time NBA All-Star MVP, 3-time All-NBA first team. Like, the list goes on and on and on. And he was a good man. He was in the news earlier this year for good deeds he was still doing. He's just an amazing person, amazing man. So, rest in peace. What a legacy. He was a living legend. His legend will always be alive. Fans have been flocking to his statue in Boston. So, and then after he retired, obviously he made his home in California. So, just an amazing man. He meant everything to Boston. He still does. He was, he wasn't always the biggest fan of how he was received there at that time. Obviously, tensions were higher then than they are now. So, but just a great man all the way around.
Absolutely, I agree, and I'll keep this short. You also talk about a man who essentially was pulling double duty because not only was he fighting battles on the court, he's fighting battles off the court.
Yep.
This man was a staunch fighter of racism, and everywhere he went, even in the own city that he was in. So the fact that he could, advocate for civil rights and fight racism, and then also go on to be not only one of the best players of all time, arguably the best player of all time, but also one of the best coaches. He's one of the, real last great player coaches. You know what I mean? This dude was just simply amazing. And, with what I don't want, and it's going to happen anyway, because that's just the nature of human beings sometimes. What I don't want people to get into the habit of is realizing what you had, when it's gone.
Yeah.
And not realizing what you had when it was still here. And I know that's what's going to happen. Especially with some of the older generation people in and around Boston. That's not a knock to Water City or anything like that. But it just goes to show you, somebody does something for the city. I mean, it shouldn't matter what skin color they are or whatnot.
Nope.
And it's crazy because he was in an era where, with the Jesse Owenses and everybody else.
Yeah. We need to cover Jesse Owens. He was amazing story himself.
Of course. Absolutely.
Of course. We'll do that.
With Jesse Owens, and even that's going even a little bit further back than Bill Russell. As you talk about a dude that won gold for his country, and he still wasn't even invited to the White House for that until 20 years later. And even then, he couldn't take the main way. He had to go the back way where the African Americans went. So again, my biggest message is I don't want people to get into the habit of realizing something when it's gone, realizing what they had, until it's gone, But
unfortunately, that will happen all the time.
And
right, and we're actually going to touch a little bit on that in one of our topics, but But yeah, absolutely. But of course, this segment's about Bill Russell. So thoughts to his family and everything. And thank you, Bill, for what you meant to the game of basketball. Go ahead, Jada.
In professional sports, like Bill Belichick came out, because I didn't know this, but Bill Russell visited the Patriots and Bill Belichick in his second year coaching back in 2001. And they became really good friends. And it happened because of a mutual friend, Matthew Slater. And Matthew Slater stated that it's really hard to put into words what Bill Russell meant, not only to the city, but to professional sports, has meant to Black athletes, and the progress we've seen in this country over the last 60 years or so. So yeah, sorry.
Think about this for a second. I mean, let's put it with the kind of winner he was. I mean, the things he did in life. For one thing, you're one of the first star Black athletes in the NBA.
Yeah,
and then for what? Not only that, you are probably 40 years, truthfully, or maybe 35 years ahead of your time.
Right.
We see that layup jumping over somebody's head from a free throw line in Chuck Taylor's. We see this. We see this. We see him. We see the picture of him jumping over his own teammate to block a shot.
That's nuts.
I mean, which is ridiculous. I mean, can you imagine if you measured vertical in that day? I mean, It's absurd. But then, something? Red Auerbach allowed him to break the barrier and go coach. And he wins 2 titles. He does the title. And I wish he would have got another chance in another city in Sacramento, because he might have done something. There's nothing. No one has a chance at Sacramento. No one gets a chance at Sacramento. They put him on Sacramento where he didn't stand a chance. Then he never got another shot again.
Jacob, just admit that the Kings are the NBA version of the New York Jets.
Oh, I already know that.
It's purgatory.
I already know that. And then the thing is, he became an announcer. He was one of the first Black announcers.
Yeah.
Jen, it's funny you say that, because the last time the Kings were relevant were like 20 years ago, and those Jet teams at that time period was the last time they were outside of that small run with.
I know.
Sanchez. That was the last time that they were. Yeah. That's actually a pretty good comparison.
I know.
Think about everything he did. Think about every single little thing he did, and he had to do it under a hell of a lot of hate.
Yep.
He had to do it a lot. I mean, where literally there are people that's just like, oh, we can. I'm just giving an example. We'll win with Kuzi. We can win with Heinsohn. We can win with blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? We're making excuses, which is basically like a certain media now with any player that they feel like. It's like we're gonna bring that up later though. But it's like they're making the excuses, and in fact, they probably don't win half those championships without Russell.
Right.
They probably don't, because he is their rebounder. He's their rebounder. He holds up the defense and he runs the floor. He runs the offense. Because he didn't score points, it doesn't matter. And the thing is, in the end, also, he had the same deal as Ali. He found a way of forgiveness. He found a way of forgiveness, and he became he gave the cool grandpa who flipped fingers. Who flipped fingers and had some fun. You know what I'm saying? Talk trash. And, and he's a cool grandpa. He probably cussed all the time. And then, something? Have fun. He knew he was old. He was going to have some fun. You know what I mean? And you know something? He made strides in life. He changed the world. And then he had fun.
Yeah. Hi, Will.
Hey, Will. No, and you see what I mean? And then he passed away quick. And you know something? We can all live to that.
Oh yeah. And what I also love is he was one of the founding inductees into the National College Basketball Hall of Fame as well, back in 2006.
Oh yeah.
So he's just, I don't know. I don't want to say this in a negative way. He is what he is. That's not putting into words the impact he made.
No, so. Yeah. Well, like I said, just in the thing of basketball alone, 35 minutes. I'm not 35 years. 35 years ahead of his prime. I mean, just the things that he did. I mean, I'd say 35 years because guess what? We had Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, the flying. Remember, he was a defensive rebound guy, but he could fly just as high.
He could.
So it's just what the thing is. I mean, what a heck of an athlete.
He had a dozen consecutive seasons of 1,000 or more rebounds.
I can keep going.
Yeah, we could just spend the entire hour talking about Bill Russell and what he was. I mean, he was in the news earlier this year for doing good deeds too. Like, he just never stopped. Just a good man with a great heart who loved people.
Well, like I said, he found he had no business really finding forgiveness for everything that people did to him. Vandalized his house and everything, but he found forgiveness and got all the love in the end. So did Ali.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it is hard when you deal with all that to find forgiveness.
It's really hard, and especially when you live in an era, and you got to think it was more prevalent back then than what Bill Russell was dealing with, because you get these people who think that just because you're getting paid, equivalent to you being set for life, that they can just say anything they want to you. You know what I mean? Oh, well, Bill's, playing basketball and he's getting paid and something. Oh, not to mention, wasn't this a time period where not all pro basketball players, they had second jobs? I mean, you mentioned that one time. Yeah, they had second jobs. You know what I mean? So think about what he was going back. And we talked. Actually, no, it was Megan Price that mentioned this a while back. It was 50 years before the NBA really started gaining traction, and players started getting paid, what they're supposed to, and such. So think about what he was going through back then.
Yeah.
He was essentially looking at being underpaid. Some of these guys, I mean, was Bill Russell? Did he have a second job? But even though I don't think he did, but other players that played with him underneath him, they probably did have second jobs, because I know that they weren't getting paid as much as Bill Russell.
Well, here's the thing. I will give a story. Wilt Chamberlain got a first $100,000 contract in the NBA. First one.
Nice.
And that lasted about 14 seconds because Bill Russell went right into Red Auerbach and said, "I want $100,000 and $1," and got it. And he got it. So he could be the highest paid in the NBA.
The funniest part about Bill was that he was actually cut from his junior high school basketball team because he didn't understand the game, and he was almost cut when he was a freshman at Mid Clemens High School in Oakland.
It's easy to do all that. It was easy in that time because there was just people trying to keep. There were people trying to keep coaches trying to keep black players off the team. A lot of that is I mean, during that time, the 50s. See, those are the thought processes. It's like a lot of it was just, boy, they don't have. It's like they're athletic, but they don't have the mind.
And Bill Russell is also the one who. He's also the one who really changed a lot of how defenses played, because when he started out, he was corrected all the time that he should just play flat-footed, stay rooted to the ground. But then he started blocking and jumping and everything else, kind of how we see defensive players playing today, and it's paid off. So
well, white players could not jump like that. So you gotta, it's one of those.
Jacob,
Tom Heinz jumping.
Well, Jacob, you mentioned, at this time period, it was real easy to keep a black person off the team and whatnot. If you think about it, isn't that what led to the creation of the ABA?
Absolutely.
Because the ABA had predominantly about 80%.
Yeah.
Or 90% black players. Yeah, that kind of segued into the ABA even being created.
Absolutely. And something, we're gonna get our 5 in tonight. Let's go into Brittany Griner. And thank you, Bill.
Yes,
and by the way,
absolutely.
Thank you very much, Bill. You've earned your rest.
All right. So in starting this segment off, we had news earlier that Brittany Griner was sentenced to 9 years in prison in Russia, and she was also fined, I think it was 1 million rupees, equivalent to about $16,800 in fines. And now, with this being said, and shout out to Eric Wilson, he says it all the time on the Sports Arena. He always has a segment to bring Brittany home, and we will preach that here also, is to bring Brittany home.
Yeah.
I will say this much, and that is, it was expected. We knew that she was looking at a max 10 years, and also, and the way I see it was she had to plead guilty because this is what was going to lead to the exchange. Because had she had pled not guilty, that meant that she was going to have to fight the case, and who knows how long that takes. They don't have a speedy trial clause like the United States does. They could hold her for as long as they can and go to trial whenever they feel like it. I'm wondering if her defense team got not her defense team in Russia. But I'm wondering if someone back home told her, hey, they may be working on an exchange deal. If you plead guilty, it can speed up the process. But Jay, go ahead.
She's probably known they're working on an exchange deal. Mm-hmm. I will say that it just came out that the Suns, before tip off tonight, held a 42 second moment of silence for her.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. No, you know something? You heard me early, and I mean something I'm very glad I was wrong about. You know what I'm saying? Something I was very glad I was wrong about. Remember when I said it on the thing, is she still alive?
Right.
I didn't want to have
You're not going to kill her right now.
Huh?
They killing a U.S. citizen right now. They broke in NATO policy, and they're going to get, because we're just waiting for Russia to do something else more egregious. Break one NATO law, because right now we can't do anything. They have to break one freaking NATO law, and we're going to go in and make it into a big old Texas barbecue. Jay will be at your house for the cookout.
Understood. But what you heard me was saying, and the reason you say it is just how absolutely miserable coverage was on the whole thing. Just how slow the government has to even get anything done here. This is the thing. We've lost, and I'm talking about because maybe online, we've lost our human element by itself. I myself, as any political thing, any political side, was never going to agree with her when she was saying that I don't, that she didn't like the anthem, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the point of anything. You know what I'm saying? Here's my thing with this. She's still a U.S. citizen. And if I said this, if the last guy can go, can get a rapper who couldn't stand him home quick with a president that a Brittany Griner's going to agree with, can do that too. Can do whatever they can do, go all the way out, but they haven't. It's been slow, and it's been slow. It has, almost to a crawl. And it's this has been. I'm sorry. This has been a slow, and this is as slow as a crawl. It has been. This is inhuman. This is one of our citizens. Whether any of us agree with somebody, I don't like seeing Twitter. I don't like Facebook. I don't like any of this. Whatever thing is, I don't like this. She did okay. Well, it has to do with weed, with vape pens, with all this. This is what it has to do. If our other presidents, and I'm telling you, Obama's gotten people out before. Clinton got people out before.
Trump did.
They got about, huh?
Trump did too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Trump, yeah. That's what I was saying. I was bringing it up before, but I brought up Trump. Yes. If they can get them out, what is taking so long? Why are you so slow? The one belief I have with something like this is a lot of people have a belief that the last guy, Trump, offended so many people. We're not trying to offend anybody. We don't want to hurt. We want to hurt the thing.
He did.
He did.
I
don't deny that.
But he did get, I forget which Ball brother out of China, but he did get the youngest Ball brother out of China.
But I'm saying we don't deny he did. But we don't deny what he offended. But at some point, why is she having suffered near 9 years or whatever the amount is to get this whole thing? Oh, so we don't offend. We have got to start getting some common sense here.
Yeah. I did want to address one comment from our guy JB Ellis. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
He said, but I will say all media talk on it hurts her, in which I do agree, because she did say that she didn't want to be seen as a political pawn or politics or anything.
She is.
But let's address the elephant in the room. Putin is a madman. This is the same dude who invaded Ukraine with zero evidence and zero justification. He was going to do whatever the hell he wanted with Brittany Griner, regardless of coverage or no coverage. That's just who Putin is.
Well, and remember, she got arrested literally like 12, 13 hours after she told the head coach of her Russian basketball team that she wasn't going to play there this coming year.
Yeah.
And she had been playing there for 7 years. She knows how strict the laws are on weed. Who's to say that pen wasn't planted on her? And a lot of people are coming down on her. I wasn't the biggest fan of her saying, I'm embarrassed to be an American. I totally silenced the Dixie Chicks for saying that back in 2000 and something. But at the end of the day, she's still an American citizen. It's still her right to say that. It's why veterans like yourself, Jay, fought for our country to say what we want to say. I mean, I can disagree with it, but at the end of the day, she's still my sister because she's a United States citizen.
And the thing is, think about all of this for a second. You tell her, I don't want to be a political pawn. Oh, she's going to be a political pawn. Think back to 1979, 1980, those Iranian hostages.
Uh-huh.
Let me say this right now. This is the truth. Carter, and I don't think Carter was a very good president, but I'm saying this. He worked absolutely heads and tails to get them out of there. Doing that.
It wasn't Carter's fault. They were in a recession because of the previous guy.
No. I understood. I'm not talking about. I'm just saying. I'm talking about overall thing. I think he's a much better citizen as he was the president.
Right.
He's an amazing citizen. Just some of the stuff that he's done. But what I was saying was he went above and beyond trying to get everything. Guess who got guess to this day who got the credit for it? And it's political. And guess what? You don't think the next person, if they become the Republican, won't get the same if Brittany has to wait that long?
True.
And it's we have got to get a human element in this world again. We just need to just get some common sense of a human element because we're nowhere there.
Yeah, absolutely. I did want to address one more from our guy, JB Ellis says, yes, he is smart and knows the fact the more talk, the more power he has. I agree with that, but also I'll add to it that you could say the same thing about Putin himself. Why do you think he invaded Ukraine?
Yeah.
Yep.
He wants to. Now, I believe he wants to reestablish the Soviet Union, but that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah,
but who knows he's the talk of the world? Brittany Griner or not? He knows he's the talk of the world right now. So, yes, I do agree with that comment, but also you can say the same thing about Putin himself.
Yeah.
The more you talk about him, the more power he has.
I actually know someone who is from Russia. They can never go back because Putin wouldn't let them leave. Because of how intelligent this individual is. And the programs that they worked when they were a Russian citizen. So, even when this person's family passes away because their parents are still there, and I believe siblings as well.
They can't go back.
Can't go back.
And that's horrible.
That's crazy.
The wife can go back, but I don't know if the wife would want to go back. But...
Oh, no, that'd be a trap. They'd stick her.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She'd be dead or thrown in jail. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd definitely be a trap, so. But outside of that, well, I guess we'll transition over to, I actually been anxious to talk about this one because we've vented about it many a day, and that is sports fans' lack of short and long-term memory. Just as a disclaimer, we may piss some people off on this segment. So
And I don't care.
So with that being said, the most that I can tell you is if you're grown enough, if it don't apply, let it fly. Jacob, take it away.
You know something? Should I be this frustrated and mad and say all the stuff that I do at James Harden? Here's the thing. Should I? No. Guess what? This is a guy that once had 52 points, 16 rebounds, 17 assists in one game. This is probably one of the more talented guards we've seen with a ball in history of the NBA. But, okay, should I be so frustrated and irritated like I do at Jacob deGrom? Look at everything he does. Look, when he's playing. Should I hate? I don't hate this actually, but should I be so cautious about Justin Fields? No, because he is a star. He has a star mind. He has swag. He should be the next for the Bears. But here's the thing. I get 1,000 more of them. The fans and media ruin it by that short and long-term memory. It's like when I was talking about Harden. Harden is like, I mean, it's like year after year. I mean, you got to realize everything I say year after year about Harden, never winning. You're not going to win a game, an NBA Finals with him on your team. Now, I've been saying that 9 years when he was 36 and 34 points a game, up to 9 years, 10 years.
Now, before you continue, let me ask you a question. You
Yeah.
said that he will never win with him on your team, or never win with him as your leader.
The team that has him on the roster is never going to win an NBA title.
Okay, so not
I've
even.
been saying that for 9-10 years. I've been saying it for 9-10 years before you guys. I've been saying this. It's like you watch him. He is a walking 3-on-3. He's a walking YMCA pickup game. He has amazing
King of the street ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I'm doing all this with Harden, I'm not saying he sucks as a player. This isn't that. It's the fact that you can just see him being that good or whatever, and then going out and then being all night at the strip clubs with beers all night. Guess what? When you have an 82-game season, then the playoffs, you have 20 more games if you win it all.
They need to reduce the season. I'm sorry, but they really do.
Yeah, of course. But I'm saying that's the big thing. He never puts anything into account to put. I mean, look at that last play when they lost when they lost. You know, what was it? Boston. When they lost against Boston, that last play, it was a close game. It's a 3-pointer, and he just watches somebody, and the ball's near him, and he watches somebody pick it up. No effort, no anything. Quit. He does this in some which way every single year. Jacob deGrom, again. Should I hate this? No. Debbie, he is fun. But guess what? The other night, 102 miles an hour, and he just got off another shoulder problem. 102. Where is this going? Where is he going to start getting into his head and start playing? Quit. Because it's like everything is, I want the internet to like me. Everything is.
I'm so sick of that. Like, that's why I can't stand John Cena anymore. He apologized to China.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing to China? Yeah. Like, they release 8 freaking movies a year from the United States.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You sound like Cena too. That was awesome. But no, you sound like Cena too there. That was awesome. But no.
Don't insult me again. I sound like me or Jay.
Yeah, right.
You say I sound like Jay.
But no. The thing is, he doesn't. But guess what? I say, where have I been wrong about Harden though? When it comes down to that point, where have I been wrong about DeGrom? The first time I'm wrong about DeGrom is if he makes it past September. Right. I've said he's going to be. I said from the beginning of the year he's going to be gone in August. He was already gone until July, and until late July. And I'm saying, and I will be shocked if he makes it to August. He doesn't get another sore thing and they shut him down. The first time I'm wrong is when that happens, when he finally gets to September. And then the whole Justin Fields thing. I said, and you guys heard me, he's going to get he's going to get killed by Nagy. I said this. You guys heard me. He's going to get killed by Nagy, no matter what this thing is. Nagy's not going to let him do anything. But Bears fans had to have him. They had to have him. They had to have him break Mitch's record because Mitch is the guy to hate. Why? I don't know. Maybe I understand Mitchell Trubisky because my dad used to say I got in trouble for doing nothing more than anybody ever seen in his life. Mitch gets more hate for doing nothing more than anything he does in his life.
Right. Well, he gets the hate because he did nothing. And I'm a Tar Heels fan.
He did his job. No, he did his job. They wanted the fantasy stars.
He came from your school.
Literally when he was drafted first, I've told Jacob this.
He did fine.
Houghton and I looked at each other and we're like, why?
No.
Like, no offense to him, he's a good QB, but
He was never a first rounder. But Jacob, you agreed he wasn't a first rounder.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I've said this thing. But the thing about it is the fact that Mitchell Trubisky's idea of using instinct and screwing up is what made the Bears actually win. Yeah. Because Nagy's offense broke down more than anything you've ever seen in your life. The blockers missed every assignment known to man. Yeah. And then the Nagy gets mad when he tries to complete it somewhere else and runs, takes off. And It's like, in that case, that's why the Bears actually – did you know Nagy's offenses, 57% of Nagy's career had under 300 yards total offense a game. That's 57% of his games. Trubisky had the most over 300-yard games, obviously. It's like he's the only one moving the ball. I'm not saying that makes him a star or a Hall of Famer. It makes him somebody not listening.
Yeah. Yeah. But, and with the whole thing, with the fans and, they expected too much. I get it. He was a first rounder, but this is the time period you got to be real with yourselves. I'll say it again. The man never was a first round material, period, point blank. Sure. And Bears fans know that. And if they don't acknowledge that, they're in denial. He never was. No. Fields was first round material. Trubisky never was.
I'm going to say something you're going to disagree with. I know you will, Jay. You know who the sleeper quarterback of this last year was? Who? Sam Howell.
Oh, boy. But
guaranteed.
No, boy. No.
Dropping it down now. He will be the sleeper QB.
No.
He might be a better product because he was under Mac Brown, but that's about as far as I'm going to take it.
The only sleeper
The
only sleeper he is his diet's going to cause him to sleep.
Get over his diet, Jacob. Who the hell cares?
Guess what? Yeah, his diet in the NFL is going to be horrible if he does not change it. But
DK Metcalf eats literally one meal and 3 bags of candy a day.
His meal? What's his meal? No one ever brings that up. What's his meal?
Jacob, come on. We've had NFL quarterbacks get crap for even being vegans. Get over what people eat and how people dress.
I ain't giving crap for being vegan. I ain't giving crap. That's an actual diet. It's an adult diet.
So.
I could ask that because nobody knows. I could ask that same question. What is his meal? It could be a lean steak with potatoes, or it could be a burger and fries.
He said that it was chicken tenders and mac and cheese
constantly.
And here's the thing: who cares? Chicken's not that bad for you. And how do we know if those chicken nuggets are fried or grilled? Because Chick-fil-A has both.
It's not, but chicken nuggets versus like grilled chicken breast. I'll take the chicken breast.
Right?
But the fact is, how is he going to stay healthy with a diet like that?
No. You're right, Jacob. And that's why I said it. Okay, now, when I'm 20, 21, of course I'm going to pick the chicken nuggets. When I'm 31, 41, give me the chicken breast.
Yeah, but
what I'm getting toward is the more he plays in the NFL, his diet is going to have to change.
No, that's why my point
is. It will. And here's the thing. I've always attested to, I think that was said in tongue-in-cheek. I really do. I could see it being a smart aleck comment that everybody has to jump on, blah, 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 because people forget last year, all of his receivers and the vast majority of the offense had already gone into the NFL.
Right.
I want him to change it and say that's real. I want him to change it because that guy's got one hell of an arm. That's a beautiful arm to watch. So, but those are the things I get frustrated with. And finally, I'm going to say this now we got off Trubisky. Let's get to Fields. This is the thing about Fields is the fact that he has got swag. He could be what the Bears need, especially when they're going to have a new ownership eventually, a new stadium eventually. He's going to be that swag. But people don't understand. He should have sat out all year long. I was mad at the Bears fans because they were insistent on him taking over Mitch's records, and he did not do that. In fact, he had a way worse rookie season than Mitch.
Yeah.
It's like this is the thing I wanted. There's a reason I wanted him to sit all that last year because we knew Nagy was gone. All you need was him to get a new coach.
But Dalton gets hurt, and who you put in there?
Well, okay, there was Foles there. Get it? Guess what? There's Foles, but guess what? You get them all there. If you let him go zero, there is a new coach, new everything. You've got real, not internet and not Twitter hype. You got real hype.
Yeah.
0 and 0 with that arm, with that everything. Instead, you've got 2 and 8. Now you're under 60%. You've got all that stuff, and guess what the league is? Guess what everything is? Guess what the NFL, NFL on Sunday is? Everything is what if he has a 3-14 or 4-13 year like they're predicting, it's over as far as him being the man. You're going to have competition, if not be gone.
But you know what? If you say that if he has a 4-13 year this year, it's over. And who do you blame for that? The fans. Because number one, you said it, they wanted him in the game, right? And number two, to add on to the sports fans lack of short and long-term memory, and I've said this over and over. I believe I said it on the Gauntlet miles ago, but I'll bring it up again. I really do believe that, and I call it the curse of 2012. So the curse of 2012 is, that was when Luck, RG3, and Wilson came out that year, and all three of them hit the ground running. Two of them, wait, hold on. Oh, no, all three of them made the playoffs that year. All three made the playoffs. They were voted team captains, rookie of the year, And ever since then, fans have gone by their standard, totally dismissing the fact that they are the exception and not the rule. In general, you must wait for quarterbacks to develop, and sometimes it takes a few years. Even Drew Brees himself has said in interviews, it takes 5 years to totally learn an offense. Look this up. And learn an offense.
But this is the fantasy and Madden world. And I will tell you another thing with the world. It is the reality show world. People will go on streaming and binge watch reality shows. Everything on a reality show is chaos. Everything is an argument. Everything is a bad guy, good guy. Everything is all that. And they will binge watch that all day. They won't watch a real show with real scripted ideas. Everything is stupidity. And then so now you get, with all that, with what you said about them, okay, and then also Mahomes. And he had a second year for one thing. But you get a second year for that. But all this is everybody's thought process. Okay, and LJ. But LJ gets attacked too, by the way. And this is Roman's fault for not being able to do the playoffs more than LJ's. Mm-hmm. But these are the deals, though. Someone like the Chicago Bears, and you were bringing this up, Jen, that you wish that the front office of Carolina listened to you guys more. You said that, but I'm just saying. But
and because they did have listened to Fiends in the past. But they're not listening to us and getting rid of Rule. Okay, there. I said it. I won't say anything about Matt Rule today. I will not. I promise.
In all fairness, Rule hasn't had a quarterback, but go ahead.
In all fairness, Rule has only 3 plays, and the quarterbacks he has, he's hung out to dry, and he's the only coach in the NFL who has come out publicly and slammed every one of his quarterbacks.
Go ahead.
I gotta get off the Rule topic because I'm about to get mad.
Last 15
Just send his ass back to Texas, please, Jay. Take him back.
I can give you some things right now about these Bears fans, and the Bears fans get listened to. I get this over and over. Okay, 15 to 17 years. Let's see. We want Grossman. We want Grossman. Pretty ball, beautiful ball, pretty ball. We want Grossman. Oh my God, 5 turnovers by himself in the Super Bowl. Off and on like crazy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? This is the whole thing. Every bit of it. But they wanted that. Kyle Orton, not as talented. Kyle Orton, not as talented. But they didn't, with that defense, with that run game, all they needed Kyle Orton to do was his usual 225 yards and 1-1, 2-1 maybe. You know what I'm saying? All they needed. He wouldn't have had 5 turnovers by himself in a Super Bowl game. He did not make stupid throws like that. He didn't do that thing. All they needed was just the run. You could have given, guess what? He would have had 1 touchdown, the same one that Rex had. He would have had that thing. They would have been running it like crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's all they would have done. And then that defense would have finished it.
Oh, the first Super Bowl? Yeah, you run TJ up the middle. And you know what? They have more of a shot if Orton plays that game.
Second thing. When Cedric was there, when these idiot fans, tons of them, and they can deny it to the end of the day. I saw it all. They wanted TJ gone. Cedric was he was big and powerful. He's gonna run people over.
TJ was doing that.
I know exactly, but they wanted the bigger guy. They always want the green. Grass is greener. Then guess what? They wanted the Orton again. 9-10 wins or whatever. Guess what? We get Jay Cutler. We want the pretty ball. We want this. And we want this. And guess what? and I'm saying this with Cutler, and it goes beyond 2011. Forget that for a second. I'm just saying this point, and this is the truth. With Jay Cutler, there's no Bruce Arians. He didn't want Arians. He wanted Trestman. He didn't want Arians to get in his face.
Yeah.
And it's like it's been constant after and then Jordan Howard was doing so well. They wanted Tariq Cohen alone. Bears fans will not quit. They will not shut up. They will not quit.
You could say that also to just sports fans in general, because whenever you mention like they want pretty, they want flashy. Think about the reason why they call Alabama boring. Think about the reason why they call the Spurs boring when they won all them titles.
The Patriots.
Think about why they call all them teams boring, because they're not styled and they're not flashy. But they dismiss the fact that Belichick won 6 rings with the Patriots. They dismiss the fact that Pop won 5 rings with the Spurs, and Nick Saban's on his 11th or 12th ring. We done lost count. It's like the fans don't want to win anymore. They want to look cute. They want to look pretty.
So here's my problem with the fans. Sometimes the fans will just sit behind PFF.
Oh God!
I hate that.
Pretty effing foolish.
I hate it because PFF will give you stats, but it doesn't show you the full game. That's why, like, when you're a fan of the team, like, I feel bad because I'll go to a concert and there'll be people who are bigger fans than I am, and I'm thinking I'm like the biggest fan out there. But no, probably not, except for my father, probably not a bigger Panthers fan out there. Because I know the whole game, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you pretty much every single game. Y'all can pop quiz me right now. I'd be able to tell you my new play. However, that's when you're an expert. The fan said just sit behind PFF. PFF doesn't tell the whole story.
And not only that, but fans. And not only that, but fans also don't know how to really break down. Yeah, not only that, but fans don't know how to break down statistical category. Like, for example, when they look at quarterbacks and total QBR takes into account everything a quarterback does. Yeah. So it's entirely possible for a quarterback to throw for 79 yards, but run for 150, and he has a high total QBR. And they're like, oh, he's elite. Well, if you want a true measure, look at his passer rating. But
you don't want to know what
the education behind that.
You know what I see with PFF? PFF are basically the nerds that figured out, how do I get laid? Oh, yeah, I got like sports. Oh, but they still don't get laid. That's what PFF people are, because they're coming up with these statistics that don't make sense. And that is what, but no. The things is like, you're right, shiny new toy. And you brought up, it was shiny new toy. But you want to know what someone just asked Belichick tonight? A 14-year-old kid. What do you think of fantasy football? He says, I don't think anything of it. I'm trying to win ball games. And it's like, guess what? That's going on TikTok. That's going on the Ding Dong TikTok, which that's the platform that has kids eating Tide Pods.
And you know what? As much as people think less of Kevin Durant on social media, that is one thing you got to respect him for. He'll tell you straight up, I don't give a damn about your fantasy basketball team. I'm trying to win.
Oh, yeah. And see, that's the thing. Part of me is my whole thing with Mitch is I never said he was a star, and no one's ever heard me say it. Part of my thing was the fact that I saw Jay Cutler for 8 years, and if Jay Cutler had a wonderful game, and his games could be nice. Yeah. Jay Cutler had a great game. He had a great arm. But the minute he had a miserable time, he threw up an interception. The minute he had a miserable time, game was over. It was over, and he ended up in 3 or 4 more while he was at it. If Mitch had a miserable game, which he would have some miserable games, he'd still make a play in the fourth quarter to keep it alive. And all I care about is wins.
Wins. And this actually is a good point. He said Pro Football Focus ranked Trayvon Diggs at number 3 for cornerbacks, but he gave up more yards than any other quarterback in the high. Now, we all know this, okay? The sad part is I've been on Twitter going against Cowboys fans who have defended him giving up all them yards. And it's
he's a TikTok quarterback. He's a TikTok quarterback. It's a pretty boy. It's the pretty TikTok. That's the same with James Harden. It's why you ignore James Harden's horrible playoffs. It's why you ignore the constant injuries of Jacob deGrom. It's why you ignore the things because they look good on TikTok. It's not. You don't win with these guys, but people want the pretty.
Yeah, they want to win, and they want to win cute, knowing full well. I mean, let me ask you a question, and then we got to move on to the next topic.
Sure.
How many finesse offenses really win in the NFL? Like, how often?
Quite possibly the Rams last year. Maybe, but other than that, it's been.
But then before that, who was it?
I mean, there's been not a whole lot, because remember how it was a kind of a. I mean, even Philadelphia, they were pretty powerful.
Yeah.
You know,
well, with Foles, yeah, that was far from a finesse team. But I mean, it's crazy because you mentioned the Rams team, and I want to say the last finesse offense that actually won the Super Bowl was the 09 Saints.
Yeah.
So they win, but do you see the
them,
gaps in between?
If you like me, don't compliment the Saints.
Look, man, I'm not a part of that I-95 rivalry. That's between y'all, okay? That's oil and water. I'm chocolate milk. I'm good over here. But the thing about it is they want so bad for it to be pretty, for it to be cute, and they forget the foundations of things like you got to have a solid defense. You got to run the football. And stop letting the media get to your head saying, "Oh, well, it's a quarterback-driven league." To a certain extent, yes, but I mean, who wins with a bottom 5 defense? It don't happen that often. Yeah, who wins if you can't run the football? No. It don't happen that often, if ever.
Well, this is the thing. When you get, and I will say this also, there's been others. I used Kyle Orton as an example. When you had him, no, not pretty. I mean, he's had a couple of good passes in his time, but you know what you have with him? He runs the ball down. You know what the quarterback does? And this is what a lot of people do not understand. They are reading the defense themselves when they're up at the line. They're figuring the things out. They can call audibles if they're going to. I don't know if Mac Jones is going to do that this year, but that's BB. But still, these things, this is what they do. It's okay. Oh, he just hands off. I heard a wingnut White Sox fan say, "Oh my God, Tony La Russa, he won all those 2,800 games with people with steroids." I'm like, it's like you get fans and they make excuses to keep a narrative. They're lying.
You can pump them as many steroids as you want to, but A, they still have to have an eye to hit the ball, and B, you still got to have a damn manager.
It's 2,800 and some odd wins, and you make you lie. Okay, they went after that lie because he had a DUI this year, and yeah, he's got a weakness. But you can't say he can't manage baseball. Oh my God, he's old. I was wrong about Tony La Russa a couple years ago when he came back. I thought they were just kind of going after the dusty old man thing, and they were going to try it that way. He proved me wrong. Now I am going to take Tony's side for doing this. I am not going to let the White Sox fans ruin him. I'm not going to let those idiot fans ruin him by trying to get the nicest little thing. I'm just not going to do that. I refuse. And it's like, I mean, Tony, let him go. If he loses in the first round, he loses in the first round. He can go on. He can retire. That's just the way to get. But quit trying to look. I mean, there was people in Philadelphia thought this interim manager was going to do wonderful, and they're starting to flail. It's just, you quit. This is what I say to and I hope someday every front office listens to me. Quit listening to fans. Quit listening to them. Do your thing. They're always going to threaten to leave, and they will always come back. When they see winning, they will forget they ever said it. Quit listening to them. Let Fields be Fields. Let Mitch be Mitch. We already know where their skill set is. Just let it be. Quit running this TikTok fantasy football Madden world. Think of winning.
Exactly. And we almost went the whole show on this one. We have 2 more topics to cover real quick. So the next one's going to be women in sports ownership.
Jen first, because I talk too much.
And then I know we did touch on women in sports ownership before, but I'm curious to hear any new thoughts regarding women in sports ownership that you all may have had. Jen?
I want Gil Benson to go away, but other than that, I'm cool.
Jacob.
Well, I mean, it's like people just, I don't know. For me, women in sports ownership is important. However, as long as you're a good owner, I don't care if you're a man or a woman. To be perfectly honest with you. And there are times when I think certain owners are really trying to emulate Major League, that movie back in the 1980s starring Charlie Sheen.
Right.
But, and that's not necessarily, that's man or woman. I mean, I know it's dumb, but I'm that person who I just want to talk sports. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's a wrong attitude to have. I don't know. But as long as
you're going to get canceled now. You're going to get canceled.
Oh, thank you, Jeremy.
No.
And I love that you have Detroit Dom on as your guest a lot, by the way.
But I mean, with or without a beer.
Shout out Dom DeRubis. Go ahead, Jacob.
Well, the thing about it, I have I am more impressed with women in sports ownership than I am the front offices, and I'll tell you why. The women in sports are usually putting up their
We're more logical.
Well, I'll agree with that. But let me say the reasoning. Let me give this reasoning.
At this point, anyone's better than Jerry Jones. To your point, Jen. Go ahead.
But no, you're right. But the thing is, that's absolutely true. And I like where they're going with the Red Wings are going. But the biggest thing I look at is when you have it in front offices, somebody's still hiring them. I'm still not fond of the idea of Kim Ng as the first women GM, and it's not because of her. She had 30 years, including starting with the White Sox in 1990. That's not the reason. It's the fact that you're starting on a miserable team with a time where anybody's ready to just let you go and then never give you another shot. The Bill Russell in Sacramento situation, and I can see that absolutely. And those situations, but when you're in ownership, you're putting the money out. Putting the money out, and you have and guess what? Denver has a couple women under their thing now. They also have Lewis Hamilton as part of their ownership team. You know what I'm saying? They've got those. We're gonna see a full-fledged woman owner one day, as far as the full-fledged NFL.
Oh yeah,
I'm one right now, honey.
No, I don't mean. I'm talking about flat out buying it, not flat out inheriting.
Okay.
It's going to, but I'm saying I get what you mean. But we're going to see. This is going to happen. People aren't going to understand that. Like you said, Gail Benson. I don't understand what you're saying with that. We're going to see it out there, like you see on the TV. They're going to walk into the room of males and say, "This is mine now."
Don't think they're not doing that, huh?
It's gonna be like a movie. They're gonna march in. It's gonna be like military style music.
Yeah, exactly.
She walks in and she's all like, "It's mine now."
Yeah, that's what's going on. I mean, it's not even to be a B move or anything, but let's face facts. If a woman is in position of power, we're a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing about this. Is the thing about there's a thing about women and thought processes.
Thanks, Jeremy.
There's a thing about women about thought processes. As somebody who's had some pretty badass women as far as my family. Mm-hmm. There's a thing about women and the thought processes is they are absolutely. This is the truth with it. Everybody's going to probably say how emotional they are. They are good. They are less likely to be emotional at first than men are. Men are. I'll use.
Men are more dramatic as adults than women are. Bottom line.
No.
And here's the thing: like a lot of people overlook what Susan Toast Spencer did.
If y'all going here, I'm going to the restroom. I'll be right back.
All right,
you piss on screen. but no. You're right on that. What she did, but it's like this is what my example is with women. I did jiu-jitsu for a year. And one thing I've always said: women are more natural at jiu-jitsu than men. Do you know why? The number one reason is because women average about 120 to 130 pounds. Jiu-jitsu is completely and utterly technique. Complete and utter technique. You know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, when you see it, they're on the ground. They have a 200-pound man on top of them. The first thing they're not thinking is Hulkamania, brother.
They're trying to way to slip out.
Yeah, they're the first thing. I mean, let's just say you're in it, Jen. First thing you're going to ask, how do I slip out? Yeah. That is every woman, every time. I have been in these classes. Well, you know what men do? Hulkamania, brother. and then they wear themselves out. It's all muscle, all
technique,
the time.
And having wrestled my amateur my senior year of high school, any wrestling coach will tell you technique wins every time, no matter how strong the other guy is. And especially when you're in the gym lifting, technique wins every single time. You got poor technique, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Why do you?
When I was in high school, I could outlift a lot of the guys. Mm-hmm. Not all the football players, but a lot of the guys. But I was a competitive swimmer, so I was doing 2-a-days. I was in the gym there too.
For one thing, you were all legs.
Huh?
You were all legs.
Yeah. I still am more legs than upper body, but back then I could bench a lot. And we have to have a totally different mindset than you guys do. Because you guys are like, everybody's going to listen to me. Women are like, okay, how do I get them to listen to me? Mm-hmm. How do I get everyone to listen? That's the thought process we all have to have. How do we get you guys to shush and listen? Yeah. And it sucks that we have to have that thought process, but even in, our personal lives, we have to have that sometimes.
Well, just remember
it's ingrained.
I love your scratcher there. And it's like, but no.
It's like an ant biting me right now. Go ahead.
But no, that's the thing. Guess what? The one thing about males, though, I told you, Jen. I've told you also, Jay. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a lot of women in my family. It was a lot of boys, but the women we had were pretty badass. And a lot of the women, they were pretty badass. So, I grew up seeing it. I'm saying in my history, also not in our family. I brought up this girl lady named BJ Adams.
Give me 1 second. I have 2 dogs fighting in a crate, and I don't like that.
No problem. But I'll bring this up real quick. Jay we had a person in Quincy named BJ Adams. She started in like the 30s and 40s. She was at our newspaper. She started out BJ as in the letters, where everybody thought that was a man. Then when they found out it was a woman, they loved her anyway. BEEJAY. You want to know what she ended up doing? Starting a Mississippi Bell distributorship for beer. She was the believer. Nice. And then she did this stuff in days where it's like, this is all men. This is 30s and 40s. You can forget it. This is what I'm saying. She just did. And so I grow up with something that I don't mind there being females in power, because I know they can be bad. I know what their strengths can be, but also I'm not insecure about it because I know I'm strong.
Yeah, and if you really think about it, the ones who are really like that insecure about it are the ones who either can't do it, or they're in their position. They're in their position and they suck at their job.
Yeah, PFF people.
Yeah, pretty much. But we're in the last 3 minutes. We're going to cover this one real fast. We actually may end up running a little bit over. But this is competition and naming rights, arena stadiums, and business developments. Curious to hear your thoughts on this.
What got me is what gets me to this day, and maybe it's just because Heinz was in Pittsburgh, and this happened with Staples also. It is one thing when you're Three Rivers Stadium and you're going to Heinz, okay? Trust me, I was around in those days. People were complaining to hell that it was Heinz Stadium. They were, because they loved the world. It was a corporate. They loved Three Rivers. And it's like, and people are going to say, oh my God, we don't want to lose Wrigley Field. What do you think Wrigley is? Yeah. What do you think Wrigley is?
You're not going to lose Wrigley Field, I don't think.
No, the name. They were worried about it. But guess what?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
What was Wrigley?
Yeah, it was transitioning into the corporate world, like you said, because back then stadiums were either named after people or an area. Three River Stadium, because it was right there at the Three Rivers point in Pittsburgh. Yep. Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, because it's in Fulton County. You know what I mean? And now they're in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You know what I'm saying?
And how does Mercedes-Benz have 2 stadiums in the NFC South?
Yeah, that's nuts. Hey,
right?
Jen, quick question. What was the original name of the stadium the Panthers played in? Wasn't it called Erickson Stadium?
Yes, sir. Good memory.
Yeah. And who was that named after?
It was named after Erickson Phones out of Durham, North Carolina.
Yep.
Erickson Phones? Oh, okay, so.
Cell phone company. My dad actually knew the owner.
But people are complaining.
Too bad we weren't that close.
But I'm saying though, people are complaining about losing Staples Center for the crypto.com. Staples is a
well, that's people who don't understand crypto.
No, but I'm saying it's not even just the cryptos. What I'm saying It's corporate. It's the corporate to corporate. You know what I'm saying? It's corporate to corporate. The Heinz to Acrisure is corporate to corporate. It's one thing. It's one thing with Chicago losing Soldier Field, which they're going to it's going to be a corporate name. It's one. Okay, I can understand that one. That's been Soldier Field forever.
Right.
But corporate to corporate. This is where everybody. At this point in time, it's comfort level, and people are not comfortable with change.
Right.
And
Absolutely. And it's crazy you mentioned that because I'm thinking back to some of the stadiums in the 80s and everything, and they really were not named after like the Bengals. They played at what, Riverfront? That was just because they're in front of a river, right?
Yeah.
Shoot, who else? Well, then there's the Houston Astrodome, but that's always just been the Astrodome.
you're Minute Maid anyway. So
And that was, and then up in
that,
Irving, Texas, it was Texas Stadium. It wasn't like it was before it predated AT&T Stadium.
Hold on
Texas
1
Stadium.
second.
And the
Hold on.
Nuggets-
Did you? Hey, real quickly, Jen. Did you? I mean, when's the sip off?
What? It started half an hour ago.
Oh, do you need to get on?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Jay, you
No,
coming on
no,
the
no, we're about to wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quickly, the thing
But
about it is,
I love. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I was just gonna say that I love that the Nuggets play on ball field or ball court after ball mason jars.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is the world, fans, that we've listened. This is the world here, okay? This is the truth. The world is business developments. The sports world is business developments. The sports world is a bunch of owners now. You know what I'm saying? It's like it is what was the word that I came up with? It was the fractionalization.
Yeah.
The world is that. The world is business developments. It's we're going to see these unnecessary, it's not just the Cubs we've talked about. We're going to continuously see these unnecessary rebuilds because they're going to lose money. Like if the unnecessary rebuild came from COVID because they spent all that money. We're going to continuously see something like that. This is the world we live in.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. Well, we are a little bit over, so I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to this episode of the Pundits Pundit. Shout out to hold on, I hit the wrong thing here. Shout out to as soon as he comes up here, Smoking Jeremy B with Kneecap Biting. Be sure to check his show out with one of ours
We're happy to
on
have you,
Sideline
Jeremy.
Sports Network with Dom DeRubis. They cover the Detroit Lions. So I know it's a lot of depression going on around there, but tune into the show because it's great. Sometimes the most amazing conversations come from losing teams. With that being said,
not for long. It's not for
tune
long.
Tune into Confidential because even though we down right now, we will be back up. It won't be this year, but but definitely next season. But yes, that is on the Sideline Sports Network. Jacob Christner and Jen is also with me on the show, as well as JB Ellis, who was in the comments earlier, and Jordan Long, and our newest newcomer, who will be making his debut next week, Tucker Hayes. That's right, yeah. Definitely not him. Definitely not him. They almost went over my head, but I was like, nope, come on back. And then also what's going on right now is the sip-off with Megan Price and Jahan Phillips, and AB might be there. Hopefully he is. But be sure y'all tune into that. And Jen, let us know where we can find you.
Well, you can find me on Basketball's, kind of, at least behind the scenes. Jay and Jacob are on there, along with Will Vogel and Dom Drubis. We also, that Sunday nights at 7 o'clock. Then we have the Pundits Pundit, which is tonight. Tuesday nights, we have the Three Chicks in a Pod. That's myself, Carrie Johnson, and Megan Price, Queen of Hoops. Followed by at 11 p.m., the Great Best Late Night Talk Show, as you just alluded to. Confidential, hosted by JB Ellis, produced by you, with commentating by myself, Tucker, Jacob, Steve Schwanda, and of course, Mr. Confidential himself, Jordan Long, because he knows so much. And then, but Mr. Confidential should probably go to JB and you, Denzel. But then we have the NBA carousel on Monday nights during the season, NFL carousel during the season on Thursday nights. we also have this sip off that I guest on occasion, and we there's probably some more that I'm forgetting right now.
Jacob, where can we find you, buddy?
First off, and I'm going to promote this there before even the thing. I am in, you guys saw this, I am in a movie. The Quickening, TJ Sanson's movie. She and I are collaborating on it. It is kind of a horror suspense, and it's kind of, if anybody's ever seen The Changeling from 1980, I'm not George C. Scott, but well, I'm better looking.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is I'm going to be in that. Over here, I am Monday nights during the season with the NBA Carousel, making prices in the NBA Carousel. I am in that. We'll see who I'm representing. Tuesday nights, Confidential with 900,000% of Silent Sports. Thursday nights here with awesome. We're gonna have every single week is gonna be better and better topics. Better and better topics each and every week. We love doing this. And now let's see. Sunday night is the Basket Bros with everyone we've mentioned. And I am also, after Basket Bros on this Sunday, I'm going to be on Couch Coach's show, represent the Bears.
All right. And we got shows 7 days a week. Always keep tuned in to Sideline Sports. You never know what you're going to get. We kind of like a box of chocolates. Some, Dutch chocolate, some dark chocolate, some regular chocolate, some white chocolate. You never know what you're going to get.
And this nutty one.
And only one, yes, and one nut. So,
oh yeah, you nutty.
So for Jacob Christner, the King of Chicago, and the 1999 powerlifting champion, the Gentleman Warrior, I am Blackbeard Snipes, and this is the Pundits Pundit. Good night, everyone.
Good night.